Some stories begin with evidence. Some begin with witnesses. Some begin with a body. This one begins with nothing, yet somehow ends with a man facing death. Because on a rainy Thursday morning, 25-year-old Daniel Price was dragged into a courtroom for a crime he didn't commit. A crime that, according to every available fact, never even happened. But the moment he stepped into that courtroom, everyone already believed he was guilty. He kept repeating the same words under his breath as officers pushed him forward. "I've done nothing wrong. They will kill me for nothing. But your time will come. The judge will be judged, and the truth will prevail." His voice didn't shake. His eyes didn't blink. He wasn't afraid, just angry and confused. Because Daniel wasn't a killer. He wasn't even a suspect. At least, not until the police made one mistake that would destroy his entire life. It all started with a midnight call to 911. A neighbor reported hearing a scream behind an abandoned warehouse. Police rushed in expecting to find blood, a victim, something. They found neither. No body, no evidence, not even a piece of clothing. Just a broken flashlight and footprints leading into the dark. And right there, standing under a flickering streetlight, was Daniel, walking home from his night shift. Wrong place, wrong time, and to the police, that was enough. Within minutes, he was surrounded by officers who didn't ask questions, didn't check his ID, didn't verify his story. They just cuffed him and threw him in the car because they were hunting someone they called the Warehouse Phantom, a mysterious criminal suspected in 3 disappearances, none confirmed, none proven. And Daniel? He fit the description. Tall, male, wearing dark clothes. That was it. Imagine walking into a courtroom knowing there's no crime, yet everyone treats you like a murderer. The judge didn't look at him. The prosecutor smirked like he'd already won. And the public whispered, "That's him, the Phantom." But here's where the story twists. The prosecution had nothing, literally nothing. No victim, no witness, no motive, no timeline, no forensic evidence, no confession. Even the police admitted they had found zero proof that a crime occurred. Yet the case moved forward. Why? Because the town was terrified. People were demanding answers. The police were under pressure. So they grabbed the closest man they could find and named him the monster they couldn't catch. Daniel's lawyer, a young public defender named Melissa Ford, flipped through the files in disbelief. "Where's the evidence?" she asked. "There isn't any," the officer replied. Melissa stared at the judge. "You're putting a man on trial for a crime that doesn't exist." The judge shrugged. "The community needs closure." Closure? For what? No one knew, but there were things the police didn't mention in the report. Shocking things, like the fact that the scream the neighbor heard lasted less than 1 second. The footprints behind the warehouse didn't match Daniel's shoes. The broken flashlight belonged to a police officer who dropped it 2 weeks earlier. And Daniel's time card proved he was still clocked in at work when the alleged scream happened. Every detail screamed innocence. Yet the prosecution kept repeating one sentence like a mantra. Daniel Price was seen at the location. Case closed. Melissa pushed back. "Seen doing what?" Silence. They had nothing. Days into the trial, something strange happened. A note was slipped under Melissa's office door. No name, no signature, just 5 words. Attached was a photo. Daniel, standing outside his job, taken months before the arrest. Someone was watching him long before the scream, long before the trial, long before he became the police's convenient suspect. Melissa asked Daniel if he recognized the angle or location. His face went pale. That was the day after my brother disappeared. What do you mean disappeared? She asked. Daniel swallowed hard. No one knows. Police didn't even investigate. They said he probably ran away. Melissa leaned in. Daniel, what aren't you telling me? He hesitated, then whispered, my brother was the one looking for the phantom. He thought the disappearances were connected. He told me he found something big, and then he vanished. Her heart dropped. So you think whoever took your brother framed you? Daniel looked down at the cuffs on his wrists. I don't think. I know. The next morning, the judge demanded the trial continue. Fast. Too fast. Witnesses were rushed. Evidence ignored. Prosecutors acted like they were following a script. Then the power suddenly cut out. The lights snapped off. People screamed. Security scrambled. And in that pitch-black moment, someone slipped something into Daniel's hand, a folded piece of paper. When the lights came back on, he hid it under the table and waited. During lunch break, he opened it. 6 words, written in shaky handwriting. Your brother is alive. For now. Daniel's pulse stopped. At the bottom of the note was a location. Pier 7. Midnight. Come alone. Melissa grabbed his arm. What's wrong? He passed her the note, her face drained of color. This is a trap, she whispered. Daniel nodded. I know. He folded the note. But if he's alive, I'm going. That night, Daniel was supposed to be locked in a jail cell, awaiting sentencing. Instead, 2 guards accidentally left his cell unlocked. They looked the other way as he walked out. Someone wanted him free. Someone wanted him at Pier 7. Someone wanted this meeting to happen. At 11:58 p.m., Daniel stepped onto the empty pier. Fog swallowed the water. The world was silent. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. He turned around, and what he saw made his knees buckle, because the person standing there wasn't supposed to be alive, wasn't supposed to be anywhere near him. The truth hit him like ice. Daniel, the figure whispered, we don't have much time. Fade to black. Fog swallowed Pier 7. As Daniel stared at the shadowed figure approaching him, he felt the cold air freeze in his lungs, because the man stepping out of the darkness wasn't a stranger. It was his brother, Ethan. Alive, barely. His clothes were torn, his face bruised, his eyes sunken and terrified. Daniel, he whispered, they're coming. We have minutes. Daniel grabbed him. What happened to you? Who is doing this? Ethan shook his head urgently. No time. Listen to me. You were never supposed to be the suspect. I was. Daniel froze. What are you talking about? Ethan's breath shook as he looked around the empty pier. They wanted someone to blame for the disappearances. Someone quiet. Someone who wouldn't fight back. Someone the town would fear. His voice cracked. They picked me first. Ethan explained everything in broken pieces. He had been investigating the strange disappearances around the warehouse. Not as a detective, but out of curiosity. Then one night, he stumbled into something he wasn't meant to see. A group of men unloading boxes from a van. Boxes filled not with bodies, but drugs, stolen goods, and laundered cash. A trafficking ring, a deeply connected one. When they spotted Ethan, he ran. He called Daniel the next morning, panicking. But before they could meet, Ethan vanished. The police didn't investigate. Because the police were involved, Daniel felt his heartbeat pounding in his ears. So the disappearances, the screams, the phantom, lies, Ethan whispered, all of it. They made up the phantom so the town stayed scared and distracted. Every time someone got close, he paused. They disappeared too. Daniel felt sick. So they framed you first. And when you vanished, they picked me. Ethan nodded. You were perfect. You walked by the warehouse that night. They had officers waiting for anyone to appear. You were the cleanest option. Daniel clenched his fists. So the trial, the judge, the prosecutor, all part of it. Ethan's voice broke. They planned to convict you, close the case, and bury me forever. Suddenly, Ethan grabbed Daniel's arm. They're here. From across the pier, figures emerged from the mist. At least 5, flashlights off, guns drawn. Daniel pulled Ethan behind a crate. What do they want now? You're alive. They can't keep this going. Ethan shook his head. They don't care about truth. They care about silence. Footsteps getting closer. Daniel whispered, "We need to run." Ethan looked down at his bruised legs. "I can't." Daniel tightened his grip. "Then I'll carry you." He lifted Ethan over his shoulder, for the first time feeling truly terrified. Not of the men chasing him, but of the system that had tried to kill him. Daniel ran toward the far end of the pier, but the men cut him off. One raised his gun. "No more running, Daniel. Drop him." Daniel stood his ground. "You framed the wrong brother." The man smirked. "No, we framed exactly who we needed." But before he could fire, a car engine roared behind them. Headlights blasted across the pier. A car slammed to a stop. The door swung open. It was Melissa, Daniel's lawyer. "Get in!" Daniel sprinted. Bullets cracked through the air. One grazed his shoulder. He shoved Ethan into the back seat and jumped in. Melissa floored the accelerator. The tires screeched. The pier vanished behind them. Inside the speeding car, Daniel pressed his hand on his bleeding shoulder. Melissa looked at Ethan in the rearview mirror. "You're alive. That's enough to destroy them. But we need proof." Ethan nodded weakly. "I have it." He pulled a small flash drive from inside his torn shoe. "Everything they're hiding, every shipment, every name, every officer helping them, it's all here." Melissa slammed the brakes in shock. "Daniel, this could collapse the entire police department." Ethan whispered, "That's why they needed a phantom, and why they needed you gone." Melissa had one plan. Risky, dangerous, but the only way to protect Daniel and Ethan. She drove straight to the local TV station. Security tried to block them. She forced her way in. "Broadcast this," she demanded, handing the flash drive to the newsroom. The journalists opened the files, and their faces went white. Corrupt officers, fake crime scenes, fabricated reports, payments, cover-ups, everything. Within minutes, the station went live, and the town watched in shock as the truth unraveled. The warehouse phantom was never real, but the corruption was. By morning, the governor sent investigators. The judge who tried to convict Daniel, the prosecutor who smirked at him, the officers who arrested him, all taken into custody. Every single one. Daniel was released publicly, this time with cameras capturing the truth. Ethan was taken to the hospital under full protection. The town apologized, but apologies didn't fix the damage. Daniel stood on the courthouse steps, the same steps where they once tried to execute him, and said quietly, "You tried to kill an innocent man, to protect criminals wearing badges." The cameras went silent. Weeks later, Daniel visited Ethan in the hospital. Ethan was recovering, slowly, smiling again. But as Daniel walked to the vending machine for water, a man in a gray hoodie brushed past him and whispered, "This isn't over." Daniel froze. When he turned, the man was gone. Later that night, Daniel found something taped to his car window. A small note, 6 words, chillingly familiar. The phantom was never the threat. On the back, coordinates, the same kind used by traffickers. Daniel looked at the paper and realized the unthinkable. There was someone else behind everything, someone powerful, someone still out there. He closed his fist around the note. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the real hunt.